exposed to music at a very young age because my father is a great musician. He was a jazz trombonist in the 50s, and then he settled in the studios and became the first call studio trombone player. He did all of Mancini and Quincy Jones and Johnny Mandel. And so I used to go with my father, and I would sit either with him or sometimes my uncle would be on the dates, and I would sit with my uncle, who was a great saxophone player. Played clarinet, flute, everything. He was amazing. And I would sit behind him and listen to him play. And he was so casual about everything. The movie would be projected behind the conductor. And I don't know why, I got very turned on by this whole sort of commercial aspect of the music. They sounded so great playing their instruments. There was a kid who came to summer camp one day, and he just pulled it out of the case and started playing these melodies. I thought, how cool is that? You can just take music with you anywhere. You can open up your case, in 2 minutes you've got this instrument in your hand, you can be playing little melodies. And so I told my father, the clarinet is real. He's like, as soon as I got the words out of my mouth, we were down at the music store renting a clarinet, cheap plastic clarinet, just to kind of see if I could play it. And that was my father. He was extremely supportive. But I wanted to be a classical clarinetist for about 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And then I heard Charlie Parker. I won this radio in a contest. It was some kind of drawing or something in junior high school. I was like 14. And I won the first prize. It was this really beautiful radio. And I was like, great, I have my own radio. I can play my own music. I can do, because everybody in my family, they were running the complete household airway. So I came home and I set up this radio, plugged it in my bedroom, and I turned it on. And I was like, I don't even know where to go. I don't know what to listen to. So I started flipping through all the channels, right? It's like, no, that's not it. And today we got, no. And then it was like, no, that's it. And so I kept going through, and all of a sudden it was like, it was like something that was kind of cool and warm. And I realized that it was jazz music. And that was the station that I decided to leave my radio set on. And that was the one that made me feel good. It was like the music that I felt relaxed listening to and interested in. I started studying with a guy named Charlie Shoemake, who had a method for teaching improvisation, and it was mainly about memorizing solos and learning songs and improvising to a tape. He would comp the changes on a cassette tape, and you would practice with it. Well, my first few solos that I memorized and learned were Charlie Parker. I started on the clarinet, then went to saxophone, then added the flute a year later. So within like about 3 or 4 years, I had started playing all those instruments. My teacher, for the first 6 months, now he admitted this to me later, he used to like, okay, let's work on this. Now I'm going to put this on and you can practice a little bit. I'm going to go out of the room for a minute. And he'd go out of the room and he'd see his wife and he'd kiss her and he'd say, ooh, I don't know about this kid. And so for like the first 6 months, I was completely lost. And then I don't know what happened, but suddenly I got it. And I could just start playing. I could start improvising in a bebop style. And then I would go sit in. My teacher had a band that would play at this jazz club called Dante's in North Hollywood. And my idol, Pete Chrisley, this tenor player with a big, bright sound and just fluid technique, was a saxophone player that played in Charlie's band. I used to go down and hear them. And one night they had me come in and sit in. But that's kind of how I started to play jazz music.